This one is called the pants. Take 8.
Yoga! Woo!
Welcome to Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed, the best-looking guys on the radio. We all know the funniest things happen when we stop taking ourselves too seriously and step out boldly, like Mr. Magoo blindly stepping onto the next swinging girder and falling into an outrageous jackpot.
We got a very good show in store for our YouTube listeners as well.
We do.
Your hosts, Daryl and Ed, are about to administer a refreshing dose of laughter and love that will inspire you to step out boldly and experience the funniest things. Now, here are your hosts, Daryl and Ed.
Welcome to The Funniest Thing,
Oh, yeah.
where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
Yes, it does.
I'm Daryl.
And I'm Ed.
And we're broadcasting live from Middle School Studios in downtown Culver City, the heart of Screenland.
Kaboom.
And today we have one of the most valuable lessons
Yes, we do.
any of our listeners, and we know we can learn ourselves.
We actually got this title from a T-shirt in one of our local favorite coffee shops, the Conservatory, while we were getting ready for the show.
Yeah, I believed you pointed the man out as somewhat of a fey choreographer from Sony.
Yes.
And on his shirt it read, which is the title of today's show, "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face."
And that is a quote from Mike Tyson. And we chewed on that for a minute, and we realized that everyone does indeed have a plan until they get punched in the face. And Mike Tyson gets the credit for this episode's title. We do not always need to be beaten into humility. We can let go at any time and drop back into the positive stream of life. Isn't that a relief?
Yeah, now I know why those church ladies go, hallelujah, they let go.
Yeah, that's right. I actually went to a spiritual healer once and fell flat on my back. I thought it was all a hoax until that moment.
Well, it was a hoax because no one caught you.
Plus, I needed a nap. So, we are very excited because during the second segment, Unity minister and host of the Unity Online radio program, Rodeo, it's kind of a rodeo around here.
Yes, it is.
Unity Online radio program, Touching the Stillness, Paulette Pipe joins the show to read and discuss today's daily word, lessons.
And lessons is why the topic of the title of today's show fits perfectly.
That's right.
Because Ed and I have realized that the only real lesson that we ever really need to realize is the lesson of let it go, surrender.
Right.
Surrender the anxiety.
Yes.
And I came across a quote before we do the breaths from Louise Hay.
Oh, yes.
That kind of sums up the episode as well. And about letting go. The lesson, anytime there's any anxiety, and we've got plenty of great stories up ahead, this is a good thought or affirmation to remind yourself. And it's, I trust the process of life to bring me to my highest good in any situation where we're starting to feel we're getting tense.
Right, because yes, we all go through points on our life journey where the what do you call it, the learning curve is steeper. There's a lot more things in motion, a lot less things that we're not used to. Whatever, things are changing, always for the better, but still, during those times, it's like how do we stay loose and open to the good that's coming in, and stay receptive to that. And so today, shall we do our 3 breaths to get it started?
Yes, these are great breaths.
So this is a good reminder. Anytime you're going through learning curve in your life, or pretty much any, even just throughout your day, there's moments when you need to remember to relax.
Returning something to the store.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh my goodness.
What are they going to? Are they going to think
Yeah, right.
I did something wrong, or
right?
Are they going to trust it? Are they even going to take it back? Am I going to have to fight to return this?
And when Daryl just had that experience earlier, and it turned out that you made a new friend, is exactly what you said when you got off the phone.
Well, yeah, because I just bought 2 brand new air conditioners last Saturday.
Yeah.
And our house, it's been like a resort.
Yes.
And both of them are defective.
Right.
So I have to return them. The shop is 29 miles from our house. And the first thought was the anxiety of, the frustration of, why can't everything work now?
Yeah.
And then the anxiety of, are they going to believe it or think I did something wrong? Or are they going to think I broke them? And you know what? I had to surrender it all.
Yes.
Instead of continuing to beating myself up and then moving from that fear and maybe saying something I shouldn't, or creating just more action that creates more problems, it's just surrender to it. And once I surrendered to it and accepted it, I started thinking godlike thoughts. Well, I wonder who I'm going to meet when I go there.
Right.
I wonder why we're got to go. We obviously, God wants us to go back there because both air conditioners need to be returned.
Yes.
And I called today, and the lady on the phone said, no problem, just bring them right to the loading dock. We'll exchange them right out. And I'm thinking, man, it just keeps getting better.
Yeah, and that makes me realize that kind of brings to mind the fact that sometimes I'll go in the past, I'll go into instead of just dealing with the way I'm feeling, letting go and addressing the issue. It's easy to get into blame. Who's to blame for this, for the condition, or who's that or this, and that just really prolongs the process.
Yeah. Well, because it often starts with self-condemnation.
Of course.
Oh, no. Like we throw it all on ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's a dangerous moment. That's the moment where the sooner we surrender to God, the better. Because what can happen is then it starts firing out at everybody else.
That's right. Oh, yeah, because it has to go somewhere. Because really the greatest lesson we're always learning is that we're in good hands.
We're in great hands.
This
Surrender.
is a loving, friendly universe.
And
So, that being said,
yes,
let's do today's breaths.
I'm so excited now that I let that go.
And really, because there's really no need for stressing. We're just learning our lesson. Stressing.
Yes. Stressing.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a breath to clear our mind. There's no need for stressing. We're just learning our lesson.
There's no need for stressing. We're just learning our lesson.
There's no need for stressing. We're just learning our lesson. All right.
We got some great readings.
The first one comes. Daryl's gonna read it. Come on.
I'm gonna read the first one.
You unearthed this CD. What year is that CD?
Oh my
from?
God! Yes.
I mean, it's a recording of something
this
written
is
in
from
what year?
1917 or something, and
Yeah.
the name of it. No, I know it's back.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to make sure I let everyone know what it is.
Yes.
Actually, it came from a fan and friend of ours, Rod Schweitzer.
Ah.
He gave me a CD recording. It's read from Adam H. Dickey, God's Law of Adjustment.
Yes.
And it's just a reminder, surrender, humility, let go.
Yes.
And here is why. It says, when we in our helplessness reach the point where we see we are unable of ourselves to do anything, and then call upon God to aid us, when we are ready to show our willingness to abandon our own plans, our own opinions, our own sense of what ought to be done under the circumstances, and have no fear as to the consequences, then God's law will take possession of and govern the whole situation. We cannot expect, however, that this law will operate in our behalf if we indulge any preconceived ideas as to how it should do its work. We must completely abandon our own view of things and say, not my will, but thine be done. If this step is taken with confidence and a full trust that God is capable of taking care of every circumstance, then no power on earth can prevent the natural, rightful, and legitimate adjustment of all discordant conditions.
Dude, that's good news.
That's surrender to win.
And I like that. How soon can we get ourselves into a position of just release? Like, there's a great book called Newton Dillaway. It's actually an old Unity book. I don't have it with me, so I don't have the
No,
year.
it's called Consent, written.
Consent. It's just called Consent.
Yeah, but it's written by Newton Dillaway.
What did I say?
You said a nice book called Newton Dillaway.
No, I said Consent by Newton Dillaway.
Oh,
Whatever. We'll
I
find back
wasn't
on the
really,
playback.
I wasn't really paying attention.
Whatever the case is.
Now our
Don't
listeners
worry.
know.
All of this is going to be edited out in post.
Now our listeners will always remember that
That's
author
right.
and title.
All right, Jeff, I'm ready now. So this one comes from a book called Consent, written by Newton Dillaway, an early Unity author.
And this is like an antique book too. We find these books just in our travels throughout the day at old churches.
That's
They're
right.
on a table. We find a lot of them on this old book giveaway table at the Inglewood Center for Spiritual Living in Inglewood, California.
Yeah, we got Reverend Kenneth Gray coming on the show in a couple weeks.
Yes, we do.
From that center. And so this book is called Consent. And it's basically the premise is what our show is all about. Consenting to God, consenting to life, so that life can just flow harmoniously the way it really is designed to do.
For our best interest, always for our best.
Right. And what we're saying, like, about this show, like, sometimes we'll take a punch in the face, and and that's the way we're gonna learn. But we don't. It doesn't have to go that far.
No, we could do it by our own willingness to surrender.
That's right. That's right. So, and Newton Dillaway says on page 36, consent is not the fruit of a strained effort, but a quiet yielding of the entire being. Every part and particle is released from tension, from direction of the conscious mind, the better to be used by the great ocean of directive intelligence.
I could even feel my shoulders relax when you were reading that. And I was thinking today, I told you during my walk,
Yes.
I was thinking about today's show, and it dawned on me because I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking about swimming, and I was, from the Coast Guard time.
Yes.
And I was thinking about how not everyone knows how to swim,
Right.
but everyone knows how to float.
Right.
If you relax, they would repeat this over and over. Just get the victim to relax. You will naturally float.
Right.
If you fight to stay afloat,
Right.
not trusting that you'll be propelled to the top naturally by your body's own inherent buoyancy,
Right.
you're designed not to drown.
Right.
Just like we're designed to receive all our daily bread from God, anything that's good, you're designed not to drown. If you just consent and relax, you will float. But if you struggle and fight to stay afloat, you drowned.
Right. Which is exactly another reason why this show is so appropriate, because when Daryl was in the Coast Guard, they told him if the person's struggling, what they tell you to do.
Punch him in the nose.
Yeah, exactly, to knock him out into submission.
If you ever got hit in the nose, it's not like the movies.
Yeah.
As soon as you get hit in the nose, take it from someone who's gotten hit in the nose, you immediately go, okay, that's it, enough. Because
Right.
you get hit in the nose, it's like, whoa, okay, I'm
Right.
out. No more fighting.
Exactly. It's just like to knock the plan out of your. That you have a plan that's not working, so first it has to get knocked out of your grip.
And what you're saying leads perfectly to this next reading. And this is from a book called 12 Steps and 12 Traditions.
Yes.
You could buy it at any store. It's an Alcoholics Anonymous publication, and it has a lot of great spiritual tips and tools.
Yes.
And here it says it clearly. We saw we needn't always be bludgeoned and beaten into humility. It could come quite as much from our voluntary reaching for it as it could from unremitting suffering. And it goes on to say, this is the exact point at which we abandon limited objectives and move toward God's will for us.
Oh, that goes right into my story of my buddy Josh, who's an amazing special ed teacher up in the Bay Area, and I believe in the Berkeley or Oakland school district. And he's getting back into his school year. And one of the things he teaches what they call like a moderate to severely disabled class, and hopefully I have all this right, but you'll get the point of the story either way. So they have in certain periods, I guess they have it's called a proctor. And it's someone who is from like the general ed population who comes in and volunteers their time.
Like another student who likes to help.
So he needed a proctor for one period. And he went the traditional route of emailing and, putting different people and putting the word out.
Which could be a frustrating endeavor.
Yeah, it's a little more stressful, when you're, you know how it is when you think about that. You have to write it and think about, getting on the computer and such. But he did that. He let it go. And then he said, I believe it was immediately after that, he took a walk through the hall. He's a meditative guy, so he's
he let it go. Dumbing down, like we call it.
Right. And the next thing, a speech therapist from the school comes up and says, hi, Josh, I wanted to introduce you to my daughter. Now, her daughter is the ninth grader at the high school where Josh teaches.
Right.
And then so he says, oh, nice to meet you. And she's kind of shy, and her mother says, go on and tell him. And so her daughter says, I want to be a proctor for your class. And so, boom, everything just came right to him. Right when he relaxed, the very thing he was looking for, out of all that school, of all the world, a friend's daughter was, they say the good that you seek is seeking you. We actually did a show entitled that. One of the first shows, if not, one of the early shows. And it's so true. In that case, he needed a proctor. Someone wanted to be a proctor. And it's so important that it's like, we got to start looking at our own needs as if there is someone out there or something that desires to fill our needs. I mean,
there always is.
It's
yes.
a match game.
And the hard part though is to keep, my mental control effort off of it.
Yeah.
Like these readings are all saying.
Yeah.
Like just remain relaxed and just do the simple things that I need to do throughout my day.
And
enjoy doing. Not the pressure. I'm not talking about the things like I have a list. I do 13 emails. I make 14 calls for my business. Oh, that's all self-will. That could be
because we make our lists, and then we let God have reign over the flow of them. We still take care of our everyday things. Even right before this show, earlier
this was
today.
Awesome. Yes.
Literally earlier today, I was thinking,
before at lunch.
Yeah, but about a couple hours before that, I was thinking about these lunch groups I'm about to start doing next week. And the one thing I was thinking is, how are the kids going to get to know the groups? Or, how are their parents going to get to know? There's permission slips and this and that. So I'm thinking about, how are they going to know that the group is starting?
Right.
And
oh my God, how am I going to get in touch with all these people?
Stuff.
I could already think how my mind would work.
The little guy in the office is running around.
Am I going to get in trouble because I didn't notify the right parents?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, I hear you.
So then Daryl and I, we got together. We're getting ready for the show. We do something called the dessert, which is the free samples at Menchie's at the yogurt shop, frozen yogurt.
Yes.
So we walk in there.
Ed's amazing. In that little Dixie cup, he can get that sample yogurt to like 12 inches tall.
It's true. I learned that from you, man.
Oh, that's right.
I saw you balancing that 18-inch sample one time. So that was the time we snuck onto the Sony lot with the nuns.
Oh, that's right. We were doing that at Sony.
Yeah. So I walk in there. The best part was there was all these kids and moms in there.
Yeah.
Getting yogurt. So we just fit right in. No, actually the guy working was on the phone. He went down the hall.
Yeah.
So we
were just like kids, in a crowd.
We're trying the yogurts, and lo and behold, one of the kids from my lunch group and her mother were there, and they came up to me and said, "Hi, Ed. It's great to see you. My daughter's been asking when's the group gonna start." And I was able to tell her right then and there, it's starting next Monday. I'm not sure where it's going to be, but we'll let you know. And then I told the girl, let your other friends know we're starting on Monday. So just like that, while we ate our lunch, we decided to get a little dessert on our way.
For Daryl. That's how that goes.
Yeah. And lo and behold, it all worked out perfectly. And the more relaxed and joyful we are, the more receptive we are to what we seek.
I just, I wanted to say something about that, about how it's always like this relaxed, fun sense of we're being taken care of. I don't need to worry about it. And now the best part, now those moms are walking away, unbeknownst to you, sending off positive prayers.
Right.
Because I guarantee you after that, they're going, wow, can you believe we bumped into Mr. B here? And he's such a nice guy. And she's telling the other mom how nice you are. And the little girl's probably going, right. And his friend said, my glasses are nice. And now all those prayers are being said on your behalf.
Right.
From just going about our day.
Yeah, because we call it school marming in my case, because it seems like we're living in a small town and I'm the school marm. We live in Culver City. It's kind of smaller suburb of LA, but compared to most places, this is a huge city.
People call it like Mayberry RFD, and this is where Mayberry was actually filmed.
Well, what do you know? We are living it. I always think you should be the mayor someday.
That's what Lori says.
All right. Well, coming up next, Unity minister and host of the Unity online radio program, Touching the Stillness, which is perfect for what we're talking about.
Yes.
How to get into that receptive state. Paulette Pipe joins the show to read and discuss today's daily word lessons. So thank you for listening to Funniest Thing on Unity Online Radio.
This one is called The Pants. Take 8.
When were we going to read this one?
You were going to read it. You can read it at the beginning of the next segment. How about that?
Yes.
Then we're going to drop that letter.
Oh, wait. Are we going to get to see Paulette?
Yes.
I hope so.
I'm claiming it.
Nah. Oh, he's got to go get her. There's a chair there.
Oh, nice.
Anyone watching on YouTube, we're going to be reading from another old-time book called My Soul and I.
Yes.
And this is by Carrie Moss Hawley. And this book was written in 1926. And it was just her personal meditations until she bumped into Professor William James at Harvard, who's the father of American psychology.
All right, Paulette's here.
I see her. And he suggested that she have all her little meditations published.
Yes.
Thank goodness, we're going to read one.
Yes, we are. It looks like Paulette is in an interrogation room of some sort.
I know.
Unity
Why
Online
is he?
Radio.
You know, everybody else, he puts the camera close. But Paulette, we got to be like 8 miles away from her.
Paulette,
Does what I can do.
is Paulette's mic on right now?
She can't hear us.
Yeah, it's on.
No, I know she can.
Comfort can be very controlling about this whole thing.
Yes. Why do I see Comfort's reflection like a ghost in the machine
Oh,
there?
yeah, that's true. Man, this is
Here we
gonna be
go.
fun.
Oh.
All right. That's why we want to hear some laughter.
You're listening to Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed, the best looking guys on the radio. If you have a question or comment about today's show, or if you'd like to join in the discussion, friend us on Facebook at Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed, or email us at funniestthing@unityonlineradio.org. Now, back to Funniest Thing.
All right. Well, you know what, Ed?
What is that?
Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
That's right. Today's show title comes from the great philosopher,
That's right. One of our gurus,
Mike Tyson.
who I actually met. And I was surprised he was shorter than me. But I definitely would never start anything with him.
All right. Let's thank our listeners. Because, before we,
Well, you'll get to that.
we'll
The
say
surprise-
thank the listeners. And as a special thank you to our listeners, Daryl has a little paragraph from a book. What's
Yes.
the book called?
This is My Soul and I by Carrie Moss Hawley. It was written in 1926. As you can see, it's no longer in print. It's a real old one.
Yes.
I found at the free book giveaway table at the Inglewood Center for Spiritual Living.
Beautiful.
And the only reason this book came into be, she was a very meditative person. She wasn't big in any philosophy or a guru or anything.
Right.
But she was friends with William James while he was a professor at Harvard. And he said she would write letters and share these things with him via mail. And in one of his letters, he said, you got to publish these things because they're so good that other people, this has been freely given to you through your meditations.
Right.
Give them freely so everyone can benefit.
Nice.
And this one goes great with today's show. And it says, be not so anxious about immediate results. You fret the finer forces and impede their way. Trust more in God and less in self. Swing off, swing off. Let the divine have complete control if you would receive the world's greatest gifts and heaven's choicest secrets.
Nice. Read the first sentence.
Let go of yourself and the waters of divine strength will flood your soul and body.
That is good stuff.
This all is leading up perfectly to our guest.
I know. So,
This is our thank our listener time.
yes. So thank you for tuning in, sharing the show.
Sharing it with your friends and downloading the podcast.
Right. If you go to DarylNed.com, you can access all this YouTube, the script page, the show script page where all the readings from the show will be found.
Yes.
And the YouTube video and the joke of the day, everything is there.
Oh, and if you subscribe, we have a special offer. If you want to start subscribing to the Daily Word, which is this segment pretty much we're going to be reading from, go on our website and press the special offer button, or you'll see the little banner ad for the Daily Word magazine. And
Right.
through our special offer, it comes to less than 3 cents a day.
Yes, it does. That's good stuff. All right. We want to thank our chief engineer, Jeff Comfort.
That's right.
It's amazing how each week
He takes us
right into the comfort zone.
Yeah.
Nice. Got a new jet.
I know.
Fancy.
Things must be getting better at Unity Online Radio.
Finally got him that pay raise. He's been
Well, we've been
working on.
writing a lot of letters on his behalf.
Plus that whole charade he had going with that fake guy. What's his name? Steve Ottman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was a good plan. Well played, sir.
And now we always like to give a shout out to the prayer line, 800 Now Pray or 800 97729.
It's a great way to get into a receptive state of mind, let go of self-will, and get into the
Yes.
flow with God, because it's natural for us all to struggle from time to time.
Yeah, it's all about taking our mental hands off the control and giving it to God. I used it this week. I used it through the You Pray app, which you can
Yes.
download for free. It's the letter U and the word pray.
Yes.
We strongly recommend it. We use it all the time. And that way you could just type in a quick text of
Yeah.
whatever's on your mind or whatever's making your shoulders tense, or for somebody else. And I sent one out for our friend Andrew.
Yes.
His daughter, for some reason, has her, nose in a twisted or something, and she's not speaking with him for some reason. He doesn't know why.
Right.
So he feels a little bit bad about that. And I said, no problem. So I put a little prayer in the You Pray app, that she feels love and forgiveness, instead of being all
Yes.
restrictive.
Yes.
And you could do the same for your friends.
Well, I did it for my cat, Ducky, because we took him to the vet and found out some things that were going on. And if you want, they'll send you an email. That's all they send you is an email
Yes.
with prayer. And mine said, Dear Edward, praying with you for God's creatures is a sacred privilege. We were honored to begin praying with you the moment we received your request. For the next 30 days, we tune into God in faith. We continue to hold thoughts of health and strength for Ducky. We know that the love of God is at work within each creature in the animal kingdom as renewing energy and vitality. And we trust that this knowledge is blessing you with peace. With faith and the healing love of God, we invite you to join us in affirming you are healthy, strong, and whole through the healing love of God. You and Ducky are in our prayers as we unfold you in love. We also encourage you to visit our website for further prayer support.
And that's a perfect time to thank our listeners who saw the post on our Facebook page about our studio manager, Mr. French.
Yes.
He stepped on a bee and his paw was limping for a couple of days, and now he's back to work,
Yes.
organizing everything here at the studio. He's doing great.
And I had one more prayer request earlier today from a friend that I went to high school with who is an amazing person and a loving mother. And she's, like I said, she's my age, and she has been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And she's been very bold and loving and asking just for positive support and prayers.
Wow.
And so...
What's her name?
Rachel Santmeyer is her name. So please take a moment to send love to her, and knowing that all is well and that radiant health is flowing through her.
Yes.
And all those she meets and encounters and that are helping her along that journey.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the Daily Word.
Yes.
Because it's not just for...
Little old ladies.
No, it's not. And we have a special guest today, Paulette Pipe from Touching the Stillness, which is a Unity Online radio show.
Yes. You're going to love her voice as much as we do.
Yes. And we're listening for it.
Hello.
There she is!
Oh, my God.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Fantastic. And how are you?
I'm blessed. Thank you.
We wanted to share with you something that we received earlier today. We got a letter from Kimberly Moreau.
Moreau.
Yes.
And she wanted us to know that an avid Funniest Thing listener has a birthday today, September 2nd, and he would be absolutely thrilled if you could perhaps mention him on the air. His name is Chico Aguilero. His two favorite Unity online programs are Funniest Thing and Touching the Stillness.
No way.
What a coincidence that today, this
Yes.
is what we like, the funniest thing, and what we mean by stepping out boldly. When Ed and I refer to that, it doesn't mean bulldozing your way to your goals. What it means is moving from fearful thinking to faithful thinking.
Yeah.
And when these funniest things, because we had, figured out the schedule with Paulette when you'd be on weeks prior.
Yes.
We had no idea.
Yes.
And then what are the chances of our show going live on the day of Chico's
Yes,
birthday?
that's right.
And then that his other favorite show's host is on, just happens to be coincidentally on the same day.
Yes.
And that Kimberly sent the email last minute, kind of hoping
Yeah.
it may get to us, and we
Right.
got it. I mean, this is so amazing, and we love you, Chico.
Yeah,
Thank
happy
you.
birthday, Chico.
Happy birthday, Chico.
Yes, I'm sure he's happy to hear Paulette's voice.
Yes.
Wishing him happy birthday. All right, so shall we get into the daily word?
Yes.
would you like me to just read it right now?
That
Oh
would
my
be
God, you could
fantastic.
read the back of a hairspray container and I'd enjoy it.
That's right.
Oh, that's a new one. It's usually the phone book. All right, so let's begin. And I invite you to, as you hear these words spoken, allow them to be the words of your own heart. Our word for today is lessons. Lessons. And the affirmation, I am grateful for the lessons in my life. Just let that sink into your consciousness. Somewhere in your heart and mind, this is the truth. So align with it, with the breath. I am grateful for the lessons in my life. And today's daily word reading is as follows. As children head back to school, I reflect on how much I'm learning. I look for lessons in my actions, reactions, and feelings. I turn within on challenging days, and I listen to my inner wisdom and learn how I may handle a situation better next time. I give thanks for everything I learn, from finding a shortcut that saves me time to discerning when to make my next big move. Every encounter is a chance to learn. I see with eyes of curiosity, wondering what insight I may gain from each interaction. I release judgment and replace it with acceptance and gratitude. When I find patterns I want to change or reinforce, I open myself to Spirit's guidance. God shows me the right next action. Lifelong learning leaves me fulfilled and at peace. Lifelong learning leaves me fulfilled and at peace. And from Proverbs 14:6, a scoffer seeks wisdom in vain, but knowledge is easy for one who understands. I am grateful for the lessons in my life. And so it is.
So it is.
Or as Ed likes to say, and sodas. Oh, that was wonderful, Paulette.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much for the opportunity to be on your show and to share the daily word.
Wow, the depth of the meaning that I gathered from your reading of that was just incredible. I really felt the touching. I did touch the stillness. in
I
that.
know, it was
that
so
was incredible.
Yeah, it was so much better than me hearing my own New Jersey accent reading it to myself. It just didn't have the same depth and weight.
Yeah, right. I know. And the lightness.
And what's
that
the
came
lesson
through.
there?
The lesson is, I don't know, I guess call Paulette on a regular basis and have her read these to me.
Lesson well learned.
I saw your Facebook page that you were doing something. Was that today? That's very inspiring.
Yes. Yes, today I was at the Kansas City Police Academy, and I did a lunch and learn presentation for some high-level police officers who were looking for tips and tools for stress reduction. So we did meditations and gave them things that they could take away for their everyday touching the stillness, really. And it was such an honor, and they were very receptive, and I believe that they've gone away with things that they can use in a practical way in their lives. And I've also decided that I want to do more of this. You didn't ask me this, but I'm just going to share it anyway.
Yeah, share it.
But back in November last year, my ministry brought 120 employees from a local charity called Operation Breakthrough. We brought them out to Unity Village and spent the whole day. It was a TLC day for the employees because they had second-tier trauma from the challenges that they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
So it was just about spoiling them, giving them a pre-Thanksgiving lunch, and more stress reduction tips and tools and resources to take away. And so having done that in November and then this today, I just know one of my new roles is to take Touching the Stillness and all that we stand for, the meditation, the practical tips and tools, take it to the street.
Yes.
Take it to the street where it's going to make an impact in all of our lives, because when I share that with the police officers, and they take that into their families or into the community or into the departments that they work with, it ripples out. And I'm really, really chuffed or thrilled.
Thank you for that clarification.
Right?
Yes. What you're saying is so perfectly, especially with our last 2 weeks guests, where they're veterans and they're bringing the meditation, they're bringing the uplifting message and the creativity to the veteran community. Yes. I mean, this is what really inspires us, is how do these principles and practices apply every day of our lives, with the people right in front of us. With
everyday people.
Right, yes. right. And it's also busting some of the myths.
Yes.
A punch in the face for realizing that there's not one way to do it. It doesn't have to just be couched in religiosity.
Yes.
It's something that we can use in practical ways. Like because it was a lunch and learn, for example, we did an eating meditation right while they were eating.
Oh, nice.
So they could experience what that is like to slow down and really experience eating your food. And then we did a short walk-in meditation just to be conscious of every body part that's involved in you taking those steps, which led into some breathing meditations and things that I did. But it was just, those everyday things that we take for granted. And that's really what it's about, is meditation and not stopping, because that's the point. People think it's about stopping our thoughts, and it's not.
Right.
It's about being mindful of every moment. And so that's what we're doing, is taking it to the streets. So we're busting the myths and the misnomers about what we think meditation is and isn't.
Yeah, and it also, I like that it happened to be something so outside the box as a group of police officers and law enforcement, because a lot of people tend to think that it's only a certain type of person that ends up being attracted to meditation, this sort of practice. And it's always wonderful, surprisingly wonderful, to see how wrong that is, that all of us, it really brings confirmation to the truth that all of us have that within us that wants to be connected to something bigger within ourselves. Naturally, it's there. And it doesn't matter, it's only our little heads that say, oh, police officers, they're not going to meditate, or garbage men, they're not going to meditate, or, people we think, the rough and tumble guys, they're not going to meditate. But that this kind of shatters that. And that was one of the things that blew my mind when I was introduced to this, and I'm glad I was introduced to it in the way I was. That was through the military. I ended up learning this from people that were in the service with myself, and because it came from what I thought, men, and they were saying that love is the most powerful force in the universe, and God flows so much love. There's so much love coming in our direction, but we restrict its flow, and that's what's giving us problems. Mm-hmm. The more you let it flow, Daryl, the more love you will get. And I wanted to believe that. When you hear that coming from a Marine, like a Master Gunny Sergeant, I believed it, because it blew my mind. If I heard that for someone like me from a priest, or, an attractive woman like you with a beautiful English accent, I would think in my mind, well, that's nice, but that's nice for her, not for me. Right. But because my messenger was dressed, my angel was dressed in the exact costume I needed it to be in, it was perfect. And I think you going there was the perfect costume for them at this luncheon. We never know what it's going to take, but God is always guiding the right person at the right time to deliver the perfect message. Because like we were saying at the beginning of the show, this is really the only lesson, is to surrender and trust God.
Right. And so what I do is, you're talking about coming in the right costume. it is an everyday and every person activity, but not everyone can see, hear, or receive it. So one of the things that I do is come in and meet them where they're at. So if you're a gardener, we're going to do a gardening meditation. And you didn't know that you were meditating when you're gardening, you'll know it by the time you're finished. So it's all the different things that can lead us to stillness that you would never in your wildest dreams have put in that category. But once you've had that experience, once you've dipped your toe into that still pool, then it's easier to move to the next level and then try the other pieces that will take you deeper into your experience. But it's where are you now? Are you ironing, ironing your clothes, and you zone into a place where time stands still, you're absorbed in the activity, you're not thinking about what's next, you're not thinking about the to-do list, you are present. And then when you become still, even if it's for 5 seconds, you've touched the stillness, you've been in meditation, and then that gap expands as you practice more. So it's starting there. So that's why we can reach everyone, because we take it out of it. You don't have to be eating tofu and wearing sandals and have long curly hair or whatever. This is for everyone. And mindfulness has become so popular now. It's making my job really easy.
This is very inspiring. Imagine the people now, like this lends credence to believe that God is everywhere and in everyone, into everyone we meet. Because who would guess that the person in Kansas City or wherever, that's pulling them over just came out of a mindfulness, touching the stillness, and is in, in a probably a very loving and compassionate place at that very moment. I mean, just yesterday I was at the gym and this guy I was getting in the sauna, and there was a guy who was like so intense, and he had this huge tattoo across his chest that said Southside. And this fear came up, but I went in the sauna. I kept blessing everyone there because I needed to anyway, not just for him, but blessing. That guy came in. He looked like he'd be like an ogre. He had like kind of like a high voice. He was really sweet. It turns out he rides his boogie board the same place I surf. He ended up telling me, "I hope I see you out in the water."
I know, it's amazing.
But he looked like the Incredible Hulk with a giant like gang-style tattoo across his chest.
Well, tell me, and then last week's episode, if you listened to it or if you haven't already, what was the title last week? You always get what you expect.
Yeah.
What you expect is what you get. Our guest sounds like a Marine. He sounds like a cigar chomping Marine, like right out of Central Casting. Which he is. But the guy is just, oh my God, just so full of love and tenderness. Yeah. It blows your mind.
Yeah. That happens with me because I'm known for meditation. In fact, when I started my ministry, Touching the Stillness Ministries, one of my missions was that when you heard my name or my ministry name, it would be synonymous with meditation. And that's happened. But what also happens is that people think that's just how I live my life the entire time, that I don't have anything else to do, I don't live any other way. Like I'll be in the inn and the cafeteria at Unity Village, and I'll start a table, the people are in meetings or whatever, so I'll start a table thinking that the next person will come, they'll sit with me, and they don't. They go off and they're all everywhere but at my table. Until recently, someone came over and hugged me from behind, and she said, "I'm so sorry to interrupt your meditation." Say hello. So you've got the reverse where people make assumptions about who you are because you have a practice. So it's not judging the book by its cover or taking it at face value. It's really getting to know people. And that's where that oneness comes in, that we are all one. But we won't know that if we don't make those interactions, if we're in our head about who people are by the way they look and what they do.
Well,
and that's the other thing about the police encounter today, with all the news headlines and everything going on. It's like,
it's perfect.
Police, exactly. Police wouldn't meditate. They're out there doing other things. But no, it's not across the board.
This is the most powerful thing that they can do. Yes.
Yeah, and people can imagine that when you're blessing the police and you really want to bless this world. Imagine them sitting at the Touching the Stillness lesson, and they're learning the same stuff we're learning, and they're doing their best to apply it in the way that they can apply it.
And they want everything to be peaceful just as much as you do. They don't want conflict. They want peace.
Right.
All right. Well, we have got to be going to a break. Paulette Pipe, thank you so much for coming on the show.
And if we're actually kind of secretly glad that no one sits with you, because when we go to Unity Village, we are going to sit and have you all to ourselves at your table at the inn at Unity Village.
Oh, I insert myself now. I know that's what people are thinking. I insert myself.
Good girl.
Well, thank you guys. It's been great to be here.
Yeah. What time does your show go
The live
live?
show.
Oh, it goes live in me this minute, but it goes on the air live
There you go.
at 11 o'clock Central Time,
AM.
a.m.
On what day?
On
on
Wednesday.
Tuesdays.
Okay.
Tuesday, 11 a.m. Central Time.
Central Time,
Which
yes.
is what, 9 our time?
Which is
9 West Coast time and 12
Yes.
on the East Coast.
On the East Coast.
Yes.
And then, of course, you can find it on iTunes or
And-
at the Unity.fm website.
Yes, and find all the archives. And we strongly suggest our listeners who are interested in meditation, like we've mentioned before, to check out Touching the Stillness.
Do you have a website, by the way?
touchingthestillness.org.
Perfect. All right. Well, coming up after the break, we'll have a joke of the day, listener mailbag, and more. So thank you for listening to Funniest Thing on Unity Online Radio.
This one is called the pants. Take 8.
That was great. Thank
Wonderful.
Oh, thank you. It wasn't as bad as I thought. I was cringing at what you were going to do with me.
you. No, we love you.
I know. I feel that love. Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's exactly what we want to hear.
Yes.
Well, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot for the
thank
opportunity.
you. God bless
And
you.
how
Take
about
care.
the coincidence that guy Chico and
That
you're
is
the
amazing.
and you're the other favorite show and you're on it
It's incredible.
today.
It's incredible.
That is serendipity. Yes.
It's wonderful. I love that stuff.
Yes.
I'm so glad you shared it. Thank you so much.
Oh, we couldn't wait. When we got that, we're like, oh, we can't wait to share it when Paulette's on.
I know. Perfect.
And then we'll reciprocate when
Oh.
there's an appropriate episode that you guys can come and be on Touching the Stillness.
Oh, that would be incredible.
Anytime. We would love it. Anytime.
I will be nervous.
Well, bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Take care. God bless you.
All right.
All right. We got a reading. We got a joke.
And the quick story.
Jeffrey? The punchline? So he had no idea what I should wear.
So he had no idea what I should wear.
The YouTube listeners can try to play the game of figuring out the joke in reverse.
And we got the brother on the hill and Ed's watch.
Okay, I'm going to get a drink of water.
Oh, lucky. I got to stay here because he's coming back quick. My water is empty. Actually, I have a little left, but don't tell Ed. We have Mr. French and Gabby ready for the third segment here in the studio.
It's going to have to be a real quick one.
I'm ready.
Got another minute to go.
Okay, because I can't see you. Okay, here comes the camera. Ah, thank you. There he is. Now we got dramatic. Look at the dramatic lighting he uses.
I love it.
It's amazing.
Wow.
Too much headroom. Tilt down your camera a little, Jeff.
That looks like a Guardian of the Galaxy scene.
There he
From a
is.
spaceship, from the cockpit of a spaceship.
Yes.
Dude, Jeff's looking good. When Paulette comes into the studio, Jeff really cleans up his act.
Well, he uses that, what's that stuff? That
Groom and clean?
Yeah, it's a men in lumberjack
Lumberjack.
facial
Pine and
mask.
spice.
Yeah, it's
Pine
a
spice
lumberjack
mask.
facial mask for
Avocado.
men.
Energetic release mask.
Here we go.
I'm ready.
We now return to the funniest thing. Here are your hosts, Daryl and Ed, the best looking guys on the radio.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for sticking around to the third segment. Today's
Yes.
topic is everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
And we don't need to get punched in the face before we surrender. We can just
Let it go.
touch the stillness before the punch in the face arrives.
Actually, the punch never comes if you touch it,
Exactly.
because then I drop back in.
It turns into a hug or a kiss
divine
on the
order.
cheek.
Exactly.
That's right. That's right. So we have a good reading to start this off.
Let's hear it.
This is from Emmett Fox, and it says, as time passes, you will realize it more and more that you will not be any nearer to him than you are now. God will never love you more than he does now. You are progressing, no matter how much or how little you know of truth. Seek and ye shall find. The very fact that you are reading these words is evidence that you are seeking.
We're hearing these words.
That's right. Whether you have been seeking for a year, for an hour, you are better now than you were before. Your life has more of blessing, less of lack, more of health, less of ailing, more of harmony, and less of unhappiness.
And that's true, like Paulette Pipe said in the previous segment, that even just a few seconds, even just trying to meditate is meditating,
Yes.
and you will still get the promise that this ended with. Your life has more of blessing, less of lack,
Yeah.
more happiness, more health, more harmony, just
Yeah.
from trying to meditate.
It seems to me, that we said at the beginning, the whole goal of the spiritual practice is really the practice is just to clear out the misunderstanding, the beliefs that are telling me that there's something wrong in the first place. That there's something I need to change about myself, or that's there's something that I need to really put a lot of effort in. There's something wrong. All of these practices are just really to love and calm the space within my mind, so that I realize, wow, life is really good. Because when I realize how good life is, it is easy for me to take action. And it's always very effective in ways that, like we talked about earlier, I could never guess. It's just by being friendly and loving and going to the bank to do this, or doing this one little thing I've been meaning to do, or whatever. All of those actions, it's not just the actions, it's the stuff that happens, the people I run into on the street. It's the letter that comes in the mail. It's all the stuff that happens along with it that makes it amazing.
Well, yeah, I become more propelled by joy instead
Yes.
of obligation.
Right, and it's like instead of our mailbox of being full of like crap, we empty it out, and then God's letters start arriving. The right messages start coming in, and then there's room in there for us to receive them. It's amazing.
Yeah. Now you were going to tell me something
yeah.
that you heard
this
in
is
the rumor
amazing.
mill over at Unity Village. I got to hear this.
Oh, so did you hear what happened with Jeff Comfort?
No, what happened?
Okay, well, he went to that new Shakta Monkey yoga class with Guru Yogi Wanda.
Oh yeah.
You know how all his friends were telling him how spiritual it was and how it would bring him closer to God?
Ooh, spiritual.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when he showed up, everyone was wearing exotic ponchos and yoga pants, and he had on cargo shorts and an ill-fitting T-shirt.
Yeah, like he wears during our show every week.
Exactly. Well, after several complaints, the guru took him aside and told him to go home, pray, and talk to God about how to dress for next week's class. And although Comfort didn't find the class very spiritual, there were a lot of hot women in attendance, so he went home and meditated and talked to God.
Oh wow, what happened? What did God have to say to him?
Well, long story short, he returned to class the next week wearing the same cargo shorts and ill-fitting T-shirt that he had worn the week before. So as you can imagine, the guru Yogi Wanda was visibly upset.
Okay.
Yeah, she took him aside. She said, "Why didn't you talk to God about how to appropriately dress for this sacred time in this sanctuary?"
Uh-oh.
Dude Comfort smiled and told her he had spoken with God. Guru Yogi Wanda, now angry and confused, yelled, "Well, what did he say?"
Well, what did God tell him?
Comfort said, "God told me he had never been to this sanctuary or this class, so he had no idea what to wear."
Ba-dum.
Thank goodness, I hear something coming.
I hear Gabby, the postal pitbull.
I hear somewhere.
Ah, there she is. Yes, Gabby the postal pitbull's here, and
We got a quick letter in response to something that we posted on our Funniest Thing fan page, which was, "My supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate, and comes to me under grace in perfect ways," which is an affirmation by Florence Scovel Shinn that we encouraged our listeners to test drive.
yeah, and Christine Rabome from Oakland, California responded to that by saying, "I'm working this weekend, so thank you. Something I've noticed is that I hold back my offerings because I don't want to bother others, assuming that I can affect their whole day and life if I order something they don't want. Phew. Thank goodness I release them and know that all who I encounter are grounded, empowered, and won't take anything personally." And just the other...
That's kind of a good way to, you could base an affirmation out that for your day.
Yes, out of her letter.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be on our script page, so you could see it there.
Yes.
Just the other day, I was walking up the hill,
Right.
and trying to release any anxiety I had going on. I started to say something that I learned actually from the Marine I spoke of earlier, he would say,
Yes.
look in the mirror and tell yourself, Daryl, I love you.
Yes.
Which sounds, ooh, I can't do that. But when a Marine tells you to do it, you listen.
Right.
So I was walking up the hill and I'm going, Daryl, I love you. As I'm walking, I felt myself getting healthier even in my walk.
Yes.
And I'm going, Daryl, I love you. And what started to happen was I automatically started appreciating everything in my life without it being a force of will. I love my wife. I love these dogs. I love Ed. I love our show. I love the green. Look how green it is. Like I was like
Yes.
going, wow, like a guy who like smoked pot for the first time in his life. It was great. And I get down and I do this hike in another neighborhood.
Yeah.
And, so I'm walking down the hill, and everyone there is pretty ethnic except for myself.
Yeah.
And on the way down, this giant, like, linebacker, big, giant black fella, huge, about my age, and he was just about to rest. He was just getting up that first ramp.
Yeah.
And he went, whew. And then, like a child, he just looked at me and said, this is my first time. I felt so much love.
Yeah.
I said, oh, that's great. I go, it feels so good. And I said, just easy does it. We had this wonderful little exchange. He said, all right, brother, I'll see you later. And I was like, I am so a part of this world. And I almost had tears in my eyes. I had to choke them back as I was walking away. And I was going, this is what it's all about.
I love the way he reflected back to you, the compassion you were having for yourself.
Oh, it was awesome.
Because we're all kind of our first time. We're all learning. We're all trying to figure this out. And if we just because we get stressed out or whatever, we got to be. I mean, that joke was pretty terrible. I'm being very loving with myself right now.
He's not being too loving because we're going over time.
Let me just tell you, the other day, I got to tell the story though. The other day at the beach, remember I got out of the water. I had that new watch I was I was appreciating, but I said, man, I don't want to have a watch tan. So I said, I'll just take it off on my walk to the car so it gets sunny. But by the time I got to the shower, I didn't know where the watch was. I was freaking out, imagining having to tell my wife I lost the watch and all this stuff. But I said,
that she just gave you.
Yeah, so I went back and looked. I couldn't find it. I went right back where I walked. Couldn't find it. So then I get to my car, but I look back to the sand, and my wife and son were walking to the beach. So this time, though, I just listened. I said, nothing's ever lost in God. Even though that other voice wanted to worry, I said, I'm not going to plan on telling anyone anything. Nothing's ever lost in God. I just kept saying that over and over again. I walked back down to the beach the same way I'd walked out. On someone's blanket, I saw my watch. I went up to the ladies nearby. I said, why don't you find a watch? Oh, my God. They were so happy to give it back. And you know what the beauty of all this stuff, all my whole prayer life is boiling down to one thing.
And what is it, Ed?
Hit me with your best shot. Come on and hit me with your best shot.
Woo!
Hit me with your best shot. Fire away.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for listening. The Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed. You can check out our website at darylanded.com. Mr. French just ran out of here. His little ears couldn't handle that.
Touching the Stillness.
That's right. You can go to our Facebook page on Facebook and Daryl and Ed Twitter. But most of all, thank you for being a part of Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed on Unity Online Radio.
Come on and hit me with your best shot. Oh, hit me with your best shot.
You know what's good about
Rock and roll.
You know what's good about our version of
Recorder.
You know what's good about our version of Touching the Stillness?
What's that?
Recorder.
When we stop, it feels like we're touching the stillness because it's like if you're working a jackhammer all day and then you finally shut it off, you're like, ah.
Oh yeah.